Hi, it's Paul here from Interact Software. Today I'm going to show you one of our new features that we've just released, which is Do and Charge. So the concept here is that you can create a job. You don't need to create a budget. You don't even need to use a budgeting system at all, but you're basically going to be putting costs against the job. And then when you're ready, you can either create an invoice or create a quote and then therefore invoice it from there. So it's for all those sort of quick repairs or let's go out and do something straight away without getting some sort of confirmation for a quote. Typically it's for smaller jobs, but it could be something that you've got a contract with the customer and you're going to go out there and do a repair or something like that, that you're just going to charge them for the items that you spend out of the job. So typically it's a detailed a detailed or an itemized quote or invoice that you're doing. So you've got all the actual cost items on there with the exact amount that you're charging them. That's normally how a do and charge invoice would work. So you can, in the same system, do and charge and do normal quoted jobs as well with estimates. But you've got now this little flag here. You can see on the screen that's got the little tick for do and charge. And when that's ticked, it initiates the fact that when you can go and create a timesheet, and it won't look up the budget, but it'll look up the cost item list instead, and that's what we're doing down here. So if I, for instance, come down here and add a new line to our timesheets, then we can put in a note here, did stuff. And here, when you select the product, you can select, you can actually select a machine as well, but you could select labor or some sort of cost item here, and then just put the number of hours straight in here. That's how we can enter it straight in like that. And if we save that, that goes and puts it and saves and recalculates down here. So yeah, look, you can do any sort of things like stock issues or subbies or machines or sundry, any of those sort of costs you can put in against the job. And then you've got one extra option here, which is this invoice direct. So you can tag that on or off. Essentially, if you leave it off, then it will create a quote initially. So I'll just show you what I mean by that. So I'll do and charge. So it says create a quote. If I cancel that and tick that again, so now we're going to create an invoice directly. You can see now it's going to create a draft invoice. So I will go the quote way, just it doesn't really matter, which depends on your workflow. So if I go do and charge, okay, so what it's now doing is adding up all the costs that hasn't been invoiced already. So it does allow you to go through and, for instance, invoice out every week or every month, and keep the same job open if you're wanting to do that. So that works just that way. So once we've indicated here that we're going to invoice it out, or in this case create a quote, it flags those lines to say yes, they've been included in a quote. Now if you do go and cancel that quote or that invoice, it does go and put them back onto the on the list of, okay, these need to be still invoiced out. So it does have that reversing function, which is quite useful when you've made a mistake or you want to, for instance, add something extra to it that you forgot about. Then that's what you can do. You can cancel it and redo the quote or the invoice. So I'll just go create quote in our example, and as you can see, it's created a sales order here, and it's got all my items. As you can see, they're all broken down for the actual items themselves on each of the descriptions that were put in. And it's brought through the cost and the sell. Now, I forgot to mention one thing back on the job. If I just go back a step to the job, there is under here set pricing. So you can set the different prices depending on if you're wanting to set a price level for items. So the costs will come through, right? So that you're putting in, putting all these costs to the job, for this do and charge, but how you're going to invoice it out will depend on this pricing. Now I've left it blank, so in actual fact it's going to use the default pricing that's set underneath the I'm in inventory here, sorry, go back to the job costing. If I look at the configuration here and go to my cost groups, I've got my configuration here of whether I'm entering it by the sell price or putting in a markup. So they're all at 20% at the moment. But if I wanted to use the sell prices from the price list from the products, I could tick that instead. So it would ignore the 20% and just use the price from the cost item list or the product list, which is that one there. So whatever it's in there, it will use that price, which is quite good. You might want to do that for some cost groups. So some cost groups you might want to say, okay, yes, I will enter it. I will use the selling price. So maybe your materials, for example, it's quite common to have that one ticked as yes there. So you can come in here, tick that, save, and then go back to the cost groups, and now it's got it ticked. So then if I come back out of here and go to my jobs, it won't do anything on the jobs because that's the global setting, but you can then, for instance, come into here and overwrite that, so or add in something extra. So you might say any sundry costs is at 20% normally, but I'm going to make it 32% for this particular job, or whatever has been agreed to. So you can save it like that. So that's a job by job basis. We don't have that functionality for to set that on a customer, but that's something that we could design into the system as well. Would be quite useful to set those sort of markups for on a customer basis. But if you, for instance, set the price list, you're going to be using the price levels anyway under the product file. Okay, so let's go back to our invoice. So we've created it under here. Here's our sale. We've got it there, so we can confirm it. And yep, and then from there create an invoice, and so on. So yeah, nothing past this point's really at anything from the norm. That's just standard Odoo. But I just wanted to show you that that do and charge functionality and setting those prices for the do and charge. So it doesn't matter about setting these prices until you go and create your quote or your invoice, and that's when you need to have done this, or leave it blank, and obviously it just uses the defaults that's under the configuration. All right, have a great day, and yeah, we'll look forward to more features in the future months. Speak to you soon. Bye.
We are an Odoo partner and have been installing ERP packages since 1983. Mainly our Australian-made package Interact software, which has a ton of great features, quite similar to Odoo. We've been helping clients personalize and install Odoo since 2020. We pride ourselves on our customer relationships and getting to know exactly what benefits their businesses. You can contact us via our website or toll-free number 1300 66 2626. We hope to hear from you soon.